Welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding livestream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid, also known as David K. Piano.
And together we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yeah, we'll be finishing an animation from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and a little bit more JavaScript today.
Yes, adding some nice interactivity with JavaScript. Will be good. Yes, and this show is made possible by your support. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers or subscribe at twitch.tv/keyframers. The links are available below, and you may even earn special shoutouts during the stream.
Yeah, and remember, if you have questions, ask them in the chat. We're looking at the chat. We will answer them. All right?
That's right. We love to have y'all participate along with us, help us out when we get stuck, and asking questions as we go. Very cool. All right. Let me fade out our music here, and let's do a little look back at the original animation that we're working on. Let me get my screen pulled up here. There we go. So this is Apple Pay redesigned by Michael Sambora, and it's a nice little reimagining of the Apple Pay interface and what that might look like, with some really interesting swipe gestures. And last week we put together kind of the basic layout of it. We started a little more bare than we normally do on the stream, so that you could see the entire process from the very start. So that's what I've got pulled up here. This is here, I'll share the original pin in the chat here, and the original animation as well. And you can go back and watch part 1 that I will also link in there. Did you sorry, would you explain a little bit about what we built last week?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we did the core interaction where it's just transitioning from that flat view to the 3D view, and we use CSS transitions in order to do that. Now we're not going to we're going to be moving a little bit away from that, just so that we could get those drag touch animations in there. But basically, we did some stagger animations. We did some other things. What did we do? Yeah. A lot of CSS grid, a lot of setup too.
Yes.
Like this time we started from scratch. We didn't exactly like have something pre-prepared. We did just plain from scratch.
Yeah.
So.
And this week we won't be starting from scratch. We'll be building from what we did last week. So I've got that copied over into a new pin here.
Where's the JavaScript?
Oh, oops.
No JavaScript.
Yeah, we don't need any of that fancy JavaScript right now. All right, I'm in collab mode. Make sure you switch over to that, and we can get started here. So this is all the same setup from last week, minus the JavaScript. And we're just using the wonderful CodePen collab mode here to be working on the same thing at the same time.
And it's been good so far to us.
Yes. Have you joined yet?
No, I haven't. I don't have the collab mode link.
Oh.
Oddly enough, technical difficulties. Please pardon our dust, etc., etc. All right, let's see if this one works.
Shoveling dirt, animated GIF.
And yes, I'm in collab mode.
Okay,
fantastic.
awesome.
Still no JavaScript, but
yes, we don't need that JavaScript. Are you actually wanting that JavaScript in there?
You know what? No, we don't need it.
I,
Basically, we have the JavaScript in order to change the data states from wallet to, what was our other state?
wallet to
Card.
card. Yes.
All right, so like if I switch it over to card, now we see the card animation. If I switch it to wallet, now we see the wallet animation, or the wallet state. So basically our app exists in two states. Our goal here though is we want to add touch interactivity to it. So basically when the user pans up or down, they could toggle using their panning gesture between the wallet and the card states. And so that's what we're going to accomplish today. We're going to be using a fantastic library called HammerJS, and I believe we've used it in a previous episode, and that's going to handle all of our touch interactions. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that right there.
Oh, hey, there you go. Very nice.
And we're also going to be adding RxJS. We'll say that for later. I'll tell you what that's for a bit later. So yeah, let's start at the let's just go right into it. So we're at the wallet state right now,
yes.
Right? Okay. And this is a good place to start because we see that each of the cards are already rotated in their final positions. So thinking about this, just before doing any code, what we want to do is we want to somehow set a CSS variable that tells the progress of when we're in one state and when we're in the other state. So we could call like the card state 0, and then as the user is dragging down, that 0 goes eventually to 1. And so let's say that the card is rotated, I forget how much it's rotated, like let's say 45 degrees. 45, right? Something like that?
Yeah, something around there.
So yeah, so the plan is we take that 45 degrees, and using that number between 0 and 1, we're going to multiply 45 degrees by that number. So it goes from 0 to 45, just times. So it would be 0 plus 45 degrees times that progress number. And of course, that progress number could be between 0 and 1. And we could see we could even shoot past that. But for simplicity's sake, it's between 0 and 1. And so that's going to give us our number between 0 and 45. So I have Hammer loaded in here, and you could just go, you could click the settings here right next to the JavaScript, and you could add external scripts or pens. So if you just type Hammer, the first link that comes up, which is that hammer.js link, that's what you're going to want to use. And I highly recommend this library for basically if you're doing any touch interaction. It's been around for a very long time. Do
you recommend hammertime.js?
No, I have no idea what that is. But we'll stay away from it. Seems unfamiliar, so we'll just ease off that. All right, so Hammer, there's a little bit of ceremony in setting it up. It's not really that intuitive. I just, honestly, I do not prefer imperative APIs where it's just like, oh, like builder pattern, like get this, set this, but we'll do it anyway. So the way you would start is you would have a Hammer handler. God, what is that?
You said ceremony. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dragging your cursor. Okay, so we have something like actually let me set this to Babel, just in case, because I don't like to be yelled at by compilers or whatever. And we'll call it H app, just like a Hammer handler for the panning action of the entire app. And so that's going to be new Hammer, and then we actually need that app thing. So onto L app equals window.app. That's the least amount of typing, but I'll do documents.query selector. All right, so in new Hammer, in that constructor, we pass in that element. So we pass in lapp, and then we pass some settings. So our settings that we're going to be using is direction, and it's going to be hammer. It's a
very different library.
Yeah, hammer.direction all. And this tells Hammer that we're not only panning left and right, but we're panning up and down. Now, the reason that Hammer makes this not the default is because up and down, that's for scrolling. And you typically don't want to interfere with the native scrolling events, but in this case, we do because nothing is being scrolled. So they're just playing it safe there. And I believe that's the reasoning. If someone else has something different, then, you know, feel free to say. And then there's also a threshold we're going to set, and we're going to set that to 0 for now. So the threshold is just how far you pan until the Hammer manager recognizes it as a pan event. So basically, if I put this to 2, that would mean that don't do anything, don't like emit any events until I've gone at least 2 pixels. But we're just going to set that to 0.
Hey.
All right, fine.
It's a little happy.
Okay, so now what we have to do is actually no, I think that should be fine. And so just without using RxJS or anything, I just want to show you what kind of events we could listen to. So we could do happy.on, and then we have things like pan up, pan down. We have pan left and pan right too, but we're not going to use those. So pan start and pan end. And then what we get is an event. And I like to use the letter E for events. That's just a convention type of thing. Who are you, Pharrell Williams? Or well, whatever his name is. Anyway, so let's go ahead and console.log just what that is. And if we open the CodePen console, nothing will happen.
It's too large.
Oh, is that what it shows you?
Yeah, it's an object coming through in the regular old console. Got stuff like angle, center, deltas, overall velocity, distance.
That's funny. You're getting that and I'm not?
Yeah.
Oh, now I get it. That's weird. I don't know why I wasn't getting weird. Okay. Like, are you getting it every time you pan? Because
I'm using like click and drag, not scroll up, scroll down. If that makes a difference, clicking and dragging is triggering it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. We'll just go with that. One of the good things about Hammer is that it sort of normalizes the mouse and the pointer events, like the touch events too, so it just sort of groups them into one. And so you could actually manipulate things with your mouse as well.
Yeah.
All right, so over here,
it looks like there's a swipe event you can watch for as well. That might be something we can play with later for trackpads.
Yeah. So the important value that we're going to want to get here is this delta y value. That's going to be our important one. And so now if we go to the console, we could see, I'm still not getting anything. I don't know, maybe my dragging is, oh wait, now I get stuff. That's really weird.
Yeah. Okay, if I start clicking on anything other than the credit cards, well, let's see. It's like some credit cards. Let me double check. Pointer events.
All right, trying something real quick. If anyone has any questions about Hammer and its usage, then please let us know.
Yeah, this is my first time using Hammer, so
okay, all right. So I had to add this stupid imperative builder API crap, which I hate, but whatever. Anyway, so that just tells it because again, like I said, Hammer is weird about panning up and down. It typically doesn't like that. So, but now we can see that it's pretty much instant. And so if you start clicking on the app and you go up, you're going to see negative values. If you go down, you're going to see positive values. And those values are going to get bigger based on how far away you are from where you first started panning from. And so that's what the delta Y represents. And that's good. That's exactly what we want. Okay, cool. So now we just have to, just for experimentation's sake, we're going to throw this in to a CSS variable. Let's see what happens. And actually, let's see. What I want to do is, because these values represent pixel values, so I want to base it on the height of the app. And so just so it's a percentage of that, right?
Yeah.
So let's get the app height. I guess it's get computed style, right?
No, you could just use lapp.offset height.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, though, it might need to read that down here, or at least update it on resize, so that we don't run into anything funny with responsive.
Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and do that. That might be a performance concern, but let's not pre-optimize. We'll just stick it in there for now. All right, so we have the heights, we have the delta Y, and so we're going to, what should we call it? DP what? No. Because I like using P for percent, but I guess that doesn't make sense. Man, naming things is hard. All right, you know what? Let's be verbose. Relative delta Y, which I'll just call RDY. And I'll make a note that that's relative delta Y. And so that's going to be the E dot delta Y over the heights. So basically, if we're panning the entire length of it, that's going to go to 1. And of course, if we go the other way, it's going to go to -1. We're going to throw that into a CSS variable, as Shaw did. And let's also log it, just so that we have a good idea of what we're working with here. So console.log RDY. Pan.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm getting
negative
values. They're percentage values. They look correct.
Yeah, it's going from -0.5 to 0.5 for me.
Yeah, that's about right. That's
about
good.
right.
Yeah, that's what we want.
We'll settle for about right.
Well, and we could adjust that, right? So we could say, like, have this be height times 0.5, and then we could adjust this. It's basically a threshold, right? And so now if we do it, 0.5, then we could say, like, that's, half of it is the full length that we want to play with. So basically the reason that we're, showing you all this is because we could go into the CSS, and wherever it's being rotated, which is line 189, we could just go in calc, and then -40 degrees times their, what did we call that? RDY?
RDY.
Okay, this is one of the most beautiful things about CSS variables is you could just do that. You don't have to find each element and update it and whatever. I gave a few talks about this a while ago, just because when I started variables and reactive animations, I'm like, CSS variables are really, really, really powerful. All right, so Shaw, go ahead and drag.
Yeah, I've got some dragging happening.
How crazy is that?
That's
it looks weird, though.
Interesting effect.
And why does it look weird? Let's see if anyone can answer. If anyone's watching. Yeah, people are watching.
We got some viewers, yeah.
All right.
Why is that weird?
I mean, I know the answer. Do you know the answer?
Is it because of where we're rotating it?
Nah. It's because we have our friend, who could sometimes be our foe, transition.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So since we have transition working on that, you know, it's not playing nicely. And so basically we have to say, like, you know, CSS, you don't have to take care of the smoothness. We're going to be the smooth ones now with JavaScript, I guess. So we could say transition none, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a lot smoother. Ironically enough, right? A lot smoother. And it's going based on where our mouse is going. But I feel like it's going the opposite direction, right?
It might be.
Okay, so let's make that.
Very sorry.
I had to look at the original animation and sort of see which way it was
Back to our
going.
favorite one here, GIF scrubber. Open it up.
Yeah, so let me look for that. And rotation is not the only thing that we want to play with, but we also want to, you know, the translate X and everything like that. But that's what CSS variables are good for. It becomes very, very easy to just do that. So I'm actually trying to find the original animation.
I linked it in the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, well. Okay, let's see what this looks like. So basically what's happening is from that view, it's rotating and translating in the direction that they're going. And so
so when you swipe down, it's pulling the cards down. When you swipe up, it's pushing the cards away.
All right, so it shouldn't be -1. But basically we want it to go to, oh, did I do this wrong? There we go. Did I still do that wrong? 4 degrees times var RDY. Undefined operation, calc. Rotate X, calc. You have an extra parentheses.
Is that?
Let's see.
I don't see any extras.
This is weird.
Undefined operation. 1 times.
Okay, what?
Is it this right here?
Oh, undefined operation.
There we go.
You know what? That might be it. Okay. Cool. So now it's not moving at all.
Anything.
Man, we messed up somewhere.
Yeah, here, let me just take that out.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay,
it's, yeah, it's because that needs to be in the calc. That's what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, but now it's going totally going the wrong way.
Well, the cards are pulling down kind of as expected, which is all right.
Yeah. I think we might need to tweak the Z, like probably not translate Z it. Let's see what happens there. So, oops. All right, because we want to bring those to the top, which means we have to. Okay, so maybe this -1 has to go to. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's think about this.
Well, so which state are we trying to plan for right now?
Wait, why did I put 0? Should be. Although should it be 1? Huh.
If you're pulling down, then it would be 1. If you're going up, it would be -1.
Right, but the currently it goes from 0 to 1, and so what's going to happen is that, like, our translate Y, our rotate X, it's going to actually start at 0 when we start playing around with it, which
so
is
we need to
not
do
what we
RDY
want.
+1.
So what I'm thinking is more like 10 rem minus 10 rem times that, and then so same thing here, -40 minus 40 degrees times, just so that it could like, or I guess you could just do plus here. Yeah, just so that you could, you know, basically, so if it's 10 rem, like for example, to translate y, since RDY is going from 0 to 1, we're reducing that 10 rem. So that's what that expression means. So we're reducing that 10 rem. Yeah. And so the rotate x, I guess we have to modify a bit. Okay, cool. So play with values. And that's definitely closer to what we want right there. So what if we do like 20 rem? Aha! Hey, check it out. That looks about right.
When swiping up, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that definitely looks correct.
Well, I mean, if you're going off the original animation, the cards push way off. But
yeah, they do. But we're not going to. Or I mean, I guess we could try, but that's like a lot more.
I'm okay with moving forward with this right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So that when card is selected, they're all stacked up on top of each other. When you pull down, they're all revealed over each other.
Yeah, so so that's good. And so basically we already have our threshold where it's like, 50% or so. Oh yeah, so we could just use that C variable in there.
Yeah.
And actually that works out pretty well, and that saves you a lot of extra CSS.
Yeah, and performance-wise, that may be a little smoother.
Yeah.
In terms of not having to run a different transform for each, it can potentially modify or potentially optimize for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to set some kind of bounds here because when you've swiped up
when we overshoot?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's do that. So in the JavaScript, we would have to do that. Unfortunately, I wish that CSS had like a math.min, math.max, all that sort of stuff that JavaScript has, but it does not. So we could do math.min, and so a min of like 1, math.max 0. So this is just your clamping right there. So we're clamping between 1 and 0, which is still a little bit too, and actually now it doesn't go, oh wait, we want to go between what, -0.5 and 0.5, right? Yeah,
something like that.
I
mean, I think just 1 and -1.
Oh, -1 and 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got my numbers all mixed up here. So.
Yeah, that's working right. Except maybe max
0.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh wait, no, we don't want the max to be 0.
Yeah, we want max to be -1, min to be 0.
Yeah. So basically, we're clamping it so that it could only go up. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So that's all good. And actually, let me extract this to a clamp function just so people could be clear. Min, max, and then, val. Well, actually, man, argument or val, min, max. And so the basic, I guess, formula is you want to return math.min on the maximum value. I know that sounds backwards. And math.max on the minimum value. So val. And so we could just take this right here, the delta y, divided by the height over 5. And so const rdy equals clamp that value minimum of -1, maximum of 0. Of course, I'll add that comment there, relative delta y. And so Shaw is like putting that on the window just so we could see.
Yeah,
just exactly so what's happening.
Yeah, it's a little easier to see when it's not locked to the console there.
Right. And again, we're not using RxJS yet. We're going to see where it becomes important to use RxJS, but I just wanted to do this straight up using HammerJS for now. So yeah, when as we could see from the top left text, when it goes to -1, that's when we're switching from wallet to card, essentially. And so just for funsies, we could just say if RDY equals 1, or I guess
0.
Be safe, greater than or equal to 1. Even though it's never going to be greater than 1, but you never know. JavaScript numbers.
Wouldn't that just be 0 though?
What? Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, just kidding. We're not going all the way to 1. So yeah, when it's at the top. Oh wait, just kidding. When it's at -1. That's what I meant. Less than or equal to -1. So basically, when we go all the way up, just like that, we want to change the state. So we could say lapp.attribute
dataset.
Wait, what? Oh, you could do that?
Dataset dot state equals
card. Okay, let's try that.
And then yep.
That's beautiful. We just can't go back.
Why can't we go back?
So that's where it becomes tricky. By the way, that was beautiful. If we reload the page, it's like, wow, we when we scroll all the way to the top, it does exactly what we want it to.
If you were as impressed as we were at that, you can like and subscribe here on Twitch and YouTube and Patreon. Feel free to. Oh no.
I mean, you gotta admit that was pretty exciting. Now I'm gonna get to something that's not as exciting. And that's the fact that we can't go back.
Yeah. What up with that?
Here's the problem with this right now, and this is why I love RxJS, is that in this single handler, this happy end, handler for all these events, we're just controlling what happens when you go from the wallet states to the card states. But we're not controlling what happens when you go from the card state to the wallet state. Now, we could throw in a bunch of if-thens where we could say if it's a card, if it's a wallet, blah, 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 then do this, otherwise do that. But then you have a whole ton of if-then statements. And this code over here becomes a lot bigger than we need it to be. So we're still not going to use RxJS. I still don't want to complicate things too much. I just want to show you the whole thought process that leads us to getting to RxJS. And so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to keep we're going to keep some sort of state. And I guess the state is defined in our lapp.dataset.states. And so we are going to, let me think about how we're going to do this. So basically, our RDY is always going to stay the same. But over here, we could say if RDY is less than or equal to -1 and lapp.dataset.states equals wallet, then that goes to card. Else, if RDY is greater than or equal to 0 and lapp.dataset.state equals card, very verbose, very messy. At least in my opinion, you might be looking at it and be like, this is how I program every day. That's fine. lapp.dataset.state equals wallet.
Yeah, so it was our clamping that was preventing us from going back.
Yeah, so now if I go down, now we're back to wallet.
Yes.
But now we have this weird thing where it just does weird things. Let's try to figure out what the heck is going on there.
Yeah, it instantly, oh, okay, if RDY is greater than or equal to 1 is what we want there, so that we switch up, yeah, and then we drag down, and when we get to 1, it switches over to wallet.
Yeah, but all right, so right now we're putting the CSS variable on when it's in data state wallet. So we need to actually we need to pull this entire thing out of data state wallet because the cards are going to rotate freely, just based on where you're rotating. But now we have some weirder behavior.
Okay, yeah, I changed things just a little bit. Let me write that back. And it might be the transform being overridden down here. Let me comment that out really quick to see. Yeah.
This is weird.
A little weird.
But it's fun. I'm just going back and forth on this, up and down.
At our nth.
All right, where are you moving things?
I just adjusted in UI card.
Okay. I for whatever reason I don't see the other UI cards though.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't change anything. It might just be our Z value for some reason isn't getting populated.
Let's see. There, RDY, bar. Huh.
Let me do just a default Z 0.
Okay, let's see what happens. Nothing. All right, yeah. Weird. Time to jump into the real inspector and see where exactly those cards are. You know, at this point, you would probably call your bank saying my card was stolen. No. It's typically what you would do. But yeah, I see no... Oh, wait, those cards are all the way up there. So there's some translate Y.
Oh, yeah, there's a translate Y negative 200% somewhere.
All right, let's find it and kill it. I think I know where it is. I just have to search
yeah.
There we go. Okay, so we could figure that out later. All right, so we have a few things to tweak here. But at least we have all the cards showing up. One of the things we could tweak is the rotation value, like when it's all the way at the bottom and it goes to wallet. So let's see where we could do that. I'm on line 188, so we're looking at this rotate X thing, and so I'm seeing that when RDY is equal to 1, let's see, that's 40 minus 40, which is not what we want. So what if I change that to 10? Well, because ideally I want that all to go to here. Let's get rid of that. And well, that does the opposite of what I want it to do. All right, so thinking about this mathematically, when I'm at -1, I want it to be 0, right? Yes, right? Yeah, because -1 means I'm all the way at the top. So I want my rotation X to be 0 when it's -1.
I think it's the opposite. You want it to be...
No, I mean it's working right now. So
okay.
Yeah, I did the math in my head. I'm actually not too good at math, but I just throw numbers and see what works. But our problem right now is when it's 1, if we do the math, that's going all the way to negative 80 degrees. And that's a bit much. So basically, we want our value between negative 40 and 0. So we have to, like, for the values between 1 and negative 1, I'm bringing out the paper and pencil for this one. Unless Shaw figures it out first. But we'll see who's faster, the pen or the
man or bearded
or the
machine.
Shaw. Pen versus machine. But so you know the goal. Yeah, so the goal is to not get those to be vertical. So we have to figure out how we could do that. If you have any ideas, please put it in the chat. But basically, we want it only going between negative 40. We want to map it to between negative 40 and 0 on the range of negative 1 to 1. So negative 1 corresponds to negative 40, and 1 corresponds to 0. I feel like that should be very simple math. We just have to find the values. Funny enough, Framer has a function called modulate. This is a fun fact. And I actually found this function really cool because that's exactly what that's for. Did you do it?
Yeah.
You figured it out. Okay, cool.
Not bad for only doing algebra.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need is algebra. All right, so explain yourself. What's going on here?
Okay, so I'm subtracting 1 so that the maximum could only ever be 0 because, you know, we're going from positive 1 to negative 1.
Yeah.
But because now the minimum is going to be negative 2, I've divided by 2 so that we end up with negative 1 to 0.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're basically normalizing the variable first. You're changing that negative 1 to 1 to 0 to 1, right?
Negative 2 to 0.
Negative 2 is 1.
Yeah, because I'm just subtracting 1 from the value.
Okay. And that divide by 2, is that what brings it from negative 1 to 0?
That's what brings it from negative 2 to negative 1.
Okay.
And
Then,
and then all the values in between.
All right. Long story short, all this is to massage this number to go from negative 1 to 0 instead of negative 1 to 1. And so visually, you could think of that as you're squishing it in half, but you're subtracting it first so that it's in the right range.
Yeah.
And then this function works. So now our translate y. Let's figure that out.
Yeah, that might need a similar treatment.
I just changed from 20 to 10.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had 20 there, but that works.
It was working before for some reason, but so one thing that we might want to do is setting transition none when there's actually touch happening, and then and then stop it whenever touch is not happening, and set that RDY value on the data state. So when it flips over, it'll transition smoothly to the proper position.
So I have a trick for that. You ready for this?
Maybe.
Okay. So let's. Okay. Yeah. Let's do this first. If e.type equals, I'm in the JavaScript, pan end, which basically means if we stop panning, then we're going to lapp.style.set property, let's just call it panning, for simplicity, panning to 0, and let's return because obviously we don't really need any of those values. So over here we know that we're panning, So we're going to set that value to 1. Now, can you guess where we're going to use those values?
In transition duration?
Yes, transition duration. Where is the transition duration set?
In UI card would be the proper spot. It's
oh, so it's not set yet. So what is our transition duration, or what should it be? I guess we haven't set it yet. So
yeah, there's transitions somewhere. It's a bit of a mess. Okay, it's 0.6. Let me make that a duration variable. 0.6. There you go.
Just duration, $sign duration.
Yeah, just cache duration.
All right, cool. So now if you scroll down to line 187.
Yes.
This is all we need. We have this, I guess you could call it a Boolean CSS variable. And I use these all the time. It's great. But you have this Boolean CSS variable panning, and that's either 1 or 0. I guess to be safe, we could have a default to 0. And so that's going to say, when we're panning, the transition duration is... Oh, wait. So we have to do the opposite of that. So we had to set not panning to 1, not panning. And by the way, there is a way to do it's a little bit ugly though. A way to do like the negation of something, like turn 1 to 0 and 0 to 1. It's math exercise left to the reader. So if we're not panning, then the transition duration is the duration, because not panning is 1, so 1 times the duration is a duration. If we are panning, this not panning is going to be 0, and so this entire duration is going to 0 out. So, yeah.
Ooh, yes. Got it.
Nice, yeah, so you see it.
Yeah, there's...
Oh.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah. So let me move this down.
Fun effects, though.
There.
See, you want to design apps so that people could just play around with it. It increases engagement too.
Okay, like data state equals let. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Our default is RDY 0. Shouldn't be the case. There we go. Okay. That should be all of this.
I think you fixed it.
And now, in theory, we could set that duration based on the velocity. But I assume that's what you want RxJS for later on.
Yeah, but we're not going to get that far into it. Right now, one of the issues is, you know, how it jumps. Like, so when we do pan end, it jumps from, and we drag again, you could see it sort of jump, right?
Yeah.
Like its rotation value.
Yeah.
And that's because we're not resetting the RDY. What's happening is that value is sticking. And so on pan end, oh, you set it to null.
Yeah, so what's actually happening is whenever you do the touch start and start dragging, it's going from 0 because that's the delta Y. So this should really be, there should be some kind of remembrance of what RDY is, and then the new value is adding or subtracting from that.
Yeah, so or what we could do is in the actual CSS, and what was I going to say? Okay, so we know that if we're in the wallet state, we know that we're coming from -40 degrees. And so we need to...
If you look down a couple of lines under data state equals card, I added RDY -1, and data state equals wallet, I added RDY 1, because we know those need to be the RDY values in those states. That's what's helping the transition end whenever we are doing the not panning. That's what's helping them get to the proper state.
Right, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you were doing, you know, RxJS or something like that, you would potentially be, you know, easing that value, lerping it to get it to lock into the proper state, potentially based on a velocity value.
Good plan. Okay, let's do that. Just because it sounds like fun.
We have differing definitions of fun.
This whole thing I sort of I mean, this whole thing I sort of want to organize anyway.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, but we do have that whole interaction, which is pretty good. And what's funny is we could actually use that CSS variable, the RDY.
Yeah. For the table and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So let's do that real quick.
Yeah, let's see. So TR here, R calc translation Y 100%.
Yeah. So our bottom here, so data state equals wallet.
Did you break something or did I?
Oh. No, I didn't touch anything. Okay. So we have this .ui bottom over here. So it only sits there.
The TRs are down here, which this might need to be out of data state equals wallet. Yeah, same with that.
And you'll see that when you're doing reactive animations, you might be pulling things out.
How did you move up with your cursor like that?
So Command Control and then the up and down arrows.
Command Control. Nope.
Yeah, it's pretty magical.
Nope.
Let's see why.
Command
nope. Out there, RDY. We multiply that by 20. Right?
That shortcut is not working for me. That might be a one of those app shortcuts. Is that like a Vim thing?
No.
No. Weird.
I feel like we might mess things up. So
it's the opacity. Nope. It's just the opacities.
All right, I'm not touching anything right now.
Really? Oh, jeez.
I made a mess of things.
Oh my.
All right, come on, back up there.
So I think it's just the opacities. If I move opacity down into data state wallet, and then TR opacity here as well. In theory, that'll do it. Oh, we're missing a bracket. Good gravy. Okay.
Okay, I think we're back to some sort of normalcy.
Normalish
really.
C.
Oh yeah, it's working, but we still have the translate on those. Or sorry, the transition.
Yeah. So what we can do is up here move this transition duration up to our actual transition declaration. Up here around line 150, and then that should in theory do what we're wanting.
Yeah.
We may need to also set transition delay based on that. Let's just remove the transition delay on TR right now. And expenses, take that off. Just doing some cleanup here. Okay, Control plus Shift and arrows, or Alt plus arrows on normal computers. That's what Lacoste is saying.
All right, I'm taking.
Oh, it's the transition delay there as well. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, that's about right, except the bottom now looks in the wrong area.
Well, it's this. You didn't update the 20VH.
Oh.
To also be using the calc. But that needs to be clamped again like I did with -1 divided by 2. Nope. +1 divided by 2.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm in RxJS land right now while you're doing that.
Sure.
Const from events equals RxJS. Basically, I'm just translating what we have right now into RxJS. So I guess once the CSS is fixed, I could go over that.
Yeah. It's pretty close.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is move these values into app and do default RDY 0. I'll pause RDY equals that.
By the way, if you're still playing around with it and it still works, believe it or not, I'm using RxJS and nothing changed right now. So, magic.
It's not, but...
Oh, it's not working?
That's cool.
It's supposed to work. All right, let's see what happened here. Okay, that's correct.
Let me make sure I didn't break something here. Okay, I might have broken something. Let me see. Let me untoggle my... Nope. Yep. Okay. It might be the specificity of our app, but the style should override that, shouldn't it?
Valid events. Oh, from event pattern. All right, now it's working. I promise.
There we go. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So one thing I've done is up on the app, I've added 2 CSS variables, one for positive RDY and one for negative RDY. That's just going to clamp it from 0 to -1 for negative RDY and from 0 to 1 for positive RDY, since we'll likely need to be using those values a few different places. So this, we can zap and say var.
Why is it overlapping though?
I haven't finished debugging that yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
Give me a minute.
All right.
Why? Okay. All right. That should be good. Whoa.
Let's see here. Yeah, we do want to add some order. Wait, do we really add it? Yeah, we do. We sort of do.
RDY. Add that.
Or do we though?
Do we? Okay, there we go.
Aha! There we go.
Yeah, it was my bad. Some issues with parentheses
All right, so I want to add a, well, actually, no, I don't want to add anything. I was going to say I want to add a third state, but I basically want to add a state when it's panning, because yeah, you know what? I do want to do that, so that's what we're going to do. Anyway, so let me talk about real quick what happened over here, which is not much. In fact, it's one of those things where it's like, why did you even bother doing that? But in the JavaScript, I took this from events pattern observable builder from RxJS, and so that just allows, like we talked about in previous episodes, anything that sort of just takes a callback and it emits stuff to that callback function. You could use from event pattern in order to emit those values in an observable. And so what we're doing is we're taking all those pan events here from this happy.on, either pan up, pan down, pan start, pan end events, and we're giving it a handler. So that's going to this from event pattern. And so we have this observable value of pan events. And so we could subscribe to those pan events, and it's a more declarative way of doing that. This is basically the same code we had before, but we're just subscribing to that. So instead of sticking all of this logic inside of our happy.on whatever, we're just representing that as an observable sequence of values. And so that's what we want. So that's good. Now over here, it's still a bit messy.
What? Oh, our actual setup there.
Yeah. So, but we don't really need to clean it up right now. This is fine for now, I guess. But I'm still
cut to that image of the dog in the house on fire saying this is fine.
Yeah, this is fine. No, I'm thinking though, because in reality, like I'm just thinking of the whole. We have 3 states now, believe it or not. We have the state where we're in our wallet. We have the state where we are showing a single card, but we also have the state where we're dragging. And so the reason that I want to separate those states is because ideally, instead of like dealing with all the CSS variable mess everywhere and trying to like make everything fit into one transition, we could say that on the wallet states, this is where they should be. Like this is their final resting place. And the card state, it should be here. It should not be rotated. It should be like just showing one card, blah, blah, blah. But in the pan state, that's where we have all of our CSS variable madness. If that makes sense?
A little bit, yep.
Okay, so let's try this. You know what? This might or might not work. So lapp.dataset.state equals, we're going to call this panning. So now we have 3 states. We're in our card state, our panning state, the wallet state. Not the panic state. Panic state is if it doesn't work, but otherwise we're in this panning state. So, oh, okay. So if RDY in data state equals,
yeah, I can't use that anymore.
All right, hold on. Data set equals state. So if it's -5, then wallet. If it's 5, then card. Because we're going to be going to our panning states.
Did you say panic state?
No. So what we could do is actually keep track of the previous states too. Yeah, that's what we do. Because I'm trying to remember what we did before. So let's do this. I'm not panicking just yet. basically, I just want to get this smooth, nice and smooth. So, okay, you know what? We're not going to use that panning thing, and instead we're going to have well, let's just have a separate data attribute, like data panning, and it'll be 0 for now, or like 0 for false, I guess. Actually, no. You know what? We're going to represent that in the JavaScript. All right, so panning equal, and there's going to be a better way to do this, of course, but we're just going to have it up here for now. Panning equals false, return, and then over here we could say panning equals true, because over here we are actually panning. Yeah, I'm still trying to think about how this is going to work. So far it works. We have it like 90% working, and I don't think our panning equals true, panning equals false thing is really going to cut it. So let's look for an alternative solution before we get too deep down into that rabbit hole. So yeah, because the problem right now is the jump, right? The jump from 1 to 0.
Yeah, and so one thing I did was move RDY out of the subscription so that it's not being set each time. So in theory, it should be, let me move this up here so that we can make sure that everything is
right. But what does that do exactly? So.
Well, let me show you what's broken. RDY's, oh, because it's const y. We got a non here. Let RDY. Okay, why is it non? Give me some hummus.
That is non. Interesting. All right, so we have RDY 0.
Why would that be?
So basically, you want to remember what RDY was.
Yeah, exactly. because when we're doing the pan start, you know, it automatically resets RDY to 0, versus starting from 1 to -1.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to resolve. Let's see if there's errors popping up in the console, like you might think. Nope.
I think the math will be easier here if we have it from 0 to 1, and just always have it from 0 to 1. That's well, actually, just kidding.
Yeah, it would be, yes, but I don't know why that's
all right, so
breaking.
I only where Lacosta says, would it be easier to create these types of animations with a library like GSAP? Here's the thing with GSAP. GSAP is not built for reactive animations like this. Now, they have GSAP Draggable and GSAP whatever other libraries, like Flick, where you could like flick and rotate it. But the thing is, like, GSAP controls all of that for you. And so if you want that fine-grained control, then GSAP sort of takes over for you. And, you know, that might be a good thing, unless you want to get really granular with the animations. I don't know.
Okay.
It depends what you want.
So I kind of got it.
Is it just going crazy right now?
Type equals pan start. What is it? Pan start. Then
going a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, because the problem is I'm adding to it each time. Any ideas there on the math? Because right now it's not doing the difference. It's so would this be RDY minus that?
It's not doing difference, you said. Well, it's going all it's going all pretty crazy right now.
Yeah. It's kind of lerping, right? RDY.
Okay. I got a plan. So let's not do anything imperative. But let's go back to where we were, just because there was.
Here, everything's back. Everything's back. Everything's fine.
Okay. Cool.
We're just still keeping track of our RD.
Oh, wait a minute. It's going the wrong way. Const RDY equals clamp. And, uh-oh.
Oh, it's this.
Oops.
Oh, jeez.
All right, cool. So here's my plan. I guess I guess we should do the have a CSS or a data attribute for if it's being panned or not. So data, and I'll show you why you want to do that. So data panning, it's either going to be 0 or 1. So obviously it starts at 0. If it's pan end, then we could, of course, let's bring this up here so we don't do any extra calculations. Now we could say lapp.dataset.panning equals 0. And we're going to use these data attributes in the CSS. Just we're going to be taking more advantage of CSS transitions to help us, and so we'll see exactly how that's done.
Do we even need the not panning property then?
Yes, we still do, and the reason why is because we can't really use this as a number.
Well, sure, but can't we just set transition none on everything that matches data panning?
Yeah, but let's figure out the first thing first.
Okay.
Otherwise, my brain will be fried. But all right, so otherwise, lapp.dataset.panning is 1, and so that's what we want to set. Okay, so over here, our UI card, we have all of this crazy transform stuff. So when data state is card, and we could say over here, hopefully you see where I'm going with this. Yeah, data state, well.
I'm just doing something. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, so basically when we're not panning, it's red.
When we are panning.
And when we are panning, it's, well, let's see.
Sorry, I reversed it so we could see when panning is active.
Actually, here, let's do this. We have 0, so panning, green, not panning, red, 3 pixels, 2 pixels just for fun. It's because it's... All right, cool. So this is actually a great learning tool. When we're panning, when we have that data attribute, data panning equals 1, it's going to turn green. And when it's not panning, it's going to turn 0. So this panning equals 0 thing is what I want to focus on. So basically, not panning. Our data state card, what I want to do is set like the final position of the card. And so that's going to be transform none, really, right? Yeah, so basically when we go to the card, is it working or am I just, oh wait, no, I had to do the and thing here. Sorry. Okay. So basically when we're in card, you see how it sort of transitions to that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now let's do the same for wallets. Wallet, now we have that this craziness right over here. Transform, translate Y. And so now we're not going to be using CSS variables because since panning is 0, we know that we're at our resting states. And so we know that this is going to be 10 rems. We know this is going to be negative 40 degrees. And we know that this is going to be the var C. Still.
Yes.
Did I do something? Oh, no. Yeah, it's correct.
Yeah, I was just adjusting the value slightly. I think it needs to be 20 rem there. I think that's working.
Yeah, cool. So as far as helping with the jump, I'm trying to see, because we might, what my thinking was, like this whole messy transform thing, we might have to have one specific for if we're panning in its card and if we're panning in its wallet. So over here, and data state equals card, and then over here, and data state equals wallet. That makes sense.
Sure.
I think. So let's try. Basically, we're going to copy this. That's going to be gone. And let's just do the card for starters.
I mean, that works in terms of transitioning from one to the other.
Right. Did I do something wrong? Because it's not going based on the CSS variable. Oh,
yeah, you gotta do the card.
Oh boy. You should have an outtakes reel, just silly mistakes by David. Okay, cool. So
a 2 hour long outtake reel of each episode.
Nah, it's not going to be that short. Well, that's cool. So we now, because of that, we have that effect of if we don't go far enough, you see how it just goes back to the wallet, sort of. But
we had that before. Because of how we were setting the RDY in data state card and RDY in data state wallet.
All right, so now thinking through this, when we're panning and when we're in the card states, we want to go from rotation of 0 to negative 40. And so because of that, we could actually simplify things here. So negative 40 times var, oh, did that go the wrong way? Var, let's try RDY. Come on, refresh. Yeah, that might be going the wrong way. But basically, we know that when we're in the card, we're at 0. So we're going to start at 0, but we know that we're going to be going towards those values. And so card states. And so that's weird. After a certain value, it just stops rotating. Do you get that too?
I'm getting some really weird rotation happening.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Let's see, it's going down, down, that's correct. And then once it hits 0.5, it's sort of just...
I mean, this was supposed to be like neg RDY. I mean...
But that goes the wrong way now.
Well... So it was this.
Yeah, but... So we're simplifying that, though.
So, in which case it would be times pause RDY in theory.
You have a pause RDY?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
All right, data state wallet. So we know that for data state wallet, this RDY, we're going from, well, we're going up, of course, and so we're starting from 0, which is correct. So,
hey, David.
Yeah.
Before we get much further in this, what exactly are you trying to accomplish here with the data state panning?
So basically, what's going to happen is that once we're at, basically, I'm making it so it doesn't matter what your RDY value is at once you're at your resting states. So
well, we already had that with just explicitly setting the RDY on data state card and data state wallet, so that once it flips to that state and you're no longer panning and RDY is set to null, they then snap into place, and then we just have the one transform function that's doing that.
Yeah, but that doesn't get rid of the jump, though.
Let me just comment that out really quick. And are you talking about the jump when you first mouse down?
Yeah, when you're starting to pan.
Right. So that's.
But the thing is, like that shouldn't matter.
That's why I was trying to do the RDY value out of here, doing var RDY equals 0, and then updating that RDY value, and potentially even with RxJS tweening that to the proper, or lerping that to the proper 1 or -1.
Okay.
And that way, it really simplifies the CSS in terms of the state management that needs to happen. And I mean, the only issue right now is, let's see. So, I mean, honestly, it could happen right here where we set on line 28 of the JavaScript, we could set the RDY to dataset dot L dot data state wallet. That would be -1 or 1, and then it snaps that value.
Trying to think through this. Let's see.
Breaking something. L app. Data state equals what?
So
sorry. Yeah, thank you, Lacoste.
Now that I thought of it, like, all right, so what I usually do, and we actually did this in a previous episode, and it's something I completely forgot to do for this one, and but what I did was I actually had 2 CSS variables going on. So I had like a y and a dy. And so the y was like the permanent y, you know, like the reference y, and which is sort of what you're manually doing with JavaScript right now. And the dy, that's like the change in y. And so that's what's currently being panned. And then once you take your finger off, then it goes to that value. The reason why I didn't think that we needed it here is because it would, like our goal was for it to snap to whatever its position is.
Yeah, which we should be able to do just by setting that y value whenever pan ends based on the state, right?
Yeah, I believe we should be able to
picturing it correctly.
Yeah, a lot of math in this one.
Well, welcome to computers.
This effect is cool though, just playing around with it. However, now it's really not getting to that resting state.
Yeah, something's off on it. Broke. If we just comment out this, then everything should be all right. Nope.
Oh, there we go. I think you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have to set RDY to null.
I mean, as it stands right now, the effect is definitely close enough. We just spent a lot of time trying to get it like extremely smooth. And I'm sure that, you know, if we add those extra CSS variables, we could totally do that. But one of the cool things we have here is the fact that we have this natural, like, this natural threshold where if you only drag it a little bit, it's not going to go all the way. It's going to snap back to where it was. And so the same thing if you did the card thing, it's going to snap back, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now we are overlapping the wallet's text, which I could probably fix real quick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No. We never do anything crazy here.
Let's see.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust that. Oh, we're having a lot of fun with CSS variables. Should probably do some sort of extended course.
Yeah.
In this or something. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to shrink the top to 3 rens, and that ought to do it. Or, well, maybe it doesn't. All right, because the wallet text is still there.
Yeah, sorry, I'm playing with the wallet text right now to get it
oh, it's just moving
positioned.
into the right position.
Yeah, and getting it to respond to the swiping. There we go. And then opacity will be...
That wallet text is just all up in our business.
Plus...
Are you position absoluting it?
No, I haven't actually done anything to the position itself. I was just playing with that transform. If you look around line 240.
Right, so I think the translate Y sort of has something to do with that. And we could probably tighten that up a little bit. Translate Y.
Nope.
So I'm going to get rid of this little panning outline. It was a fun experiment, but ultimately didn't really go anywhere.
Oh, well. Right. Can. So one thing I did, if you look at the table, to give that illusion of the
stagger.
Yeah, I just used that I variable to multiply around line 209.
I do.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to figure out the start point issue with the drag. Why don't you keep working on something? I'm gonna think through that a little bit.
Okay, sure. So I'm actually going to be refactoring the JavaScript, unless you're touching the are you touching the JavaScript?
Well, no, I'm just thinking about it at this point. If you want to get in there and play with it, that's fine.
Yeah, so I'm going to play around with that. And hey, that might solve the issue too. So we'll see. Okay, because I'm going to be doing a few things with scan. So first of all, I'm going to be moving that RDY out into its own stream based on pan and let's see, what's it called? What's that? Pipe. Right. So pipe, and that pan is just that e.delta-y value. So yeah, our large amount of JavaScript, I'm just organizing that.
It's fine.
So let's say RxJS dot. Equals RxJS dot operators. And a pipe at pan return. And that delta y height. Yes, we also need the height. Oh, that's gonna be fun. So funny enough, we could also, here's a cool thing about RxJS, as much as I talk about, we could represent that height as an observable as well. And we could only say, we could say only read the heights when like the window size changes or something like that. So it's just a cool thing we could do. See, let's log RxJS. Let's see what we have here. Oh, okay. We could use of. I'll add dot offset height, and then we combine the two. Combine pan.
You're messing with the values, right?
With what?
With the JavaScript values, right?
Well, I'm actually not touching the JavaScript values. Why, is there something going off?
Yeah, let me make sure.
So yeah, I'm sort of editing it in place so that like while you're working on it, nothing changes.
Okay. then it was something I
I'm
did.
doing like that sneaky Indiana Jones thing where, you know, he replaces the whatever, the gold with the rock of the same weight.
In theory.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So and then we're gonna have all right, and I'm gonna console log that, console.log rby. Oh no, let's do that rby.subscribe. Have you played around with RxJS in your job yet?
I have not.
No interest or no application?
I haven't found a good use for it that is not made clearer in my head by just doing it vanilla. I see the merit in it that you describe, but I've yet to actually see that lived out.
We'll do better. And yeah, I'll actually show you some merits like when I'm done refactoring over here, because there is a lot. Especially for testing, you know, you have all this complex animation logic. You know, it's hard to yeah. All right, perfect. Height works. Wow. I'm always surprised how things just work. It's fantastic. All right, so we have our RDYs. We have our pan.pipe. Okay, thinking. Type by lamps.dy. Sorry if something's broken.
Yes,
it shouldn't be anymore.
It's all you. It's all you.
I know.
Certainly not me.
All right. Let me see if I could do my Indiana Jones thing here. This will be fun.
What's the Indiana Jones theme?
The Indiana Jones is I'm doing a big refactor, but you're never going to notice it.
Oh no, the theme from Indiana Jones. I'm blanking.
It's
if anyone in the chat knows, type it out.
How's it go again? No, that's not it. I'm thinking of the final countdown. Yeah, no, that's not it. What is the Indiana Jones theme? Oh, no, that's Jurassic.
You're the pianist. You should know all of these themes, right?
Maybe. All right. Did you notice anything break?
Yes, but that is mostly my fault.
Okay. Great.
And yes, I do notice a few things breaking.
Oh shoot! Hold on. No, it shouldn't be breaking. You're wrong.
Am I wrong? I don't. It's very possible that I've broken something, but I'm trying not to. Oh yeah, the RDY value is very, very low. 0.002 instead of.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
You got some kind of clamping going on here.
Yeah, man, did I do something wrong? Okay, hold on. I'm un-Indiana Jonesing my Indiana Jones. So that works. Oh. Okay, because I was double clamping. So yeah. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I YouTubed it.
Oh. That works. Right,
Yeah.
so y equals e, get rid of that. Okay. Indiana Jones time. Y, which I gotta remember that. Okay, cool. My Indiana Jones thing works. So, you know why? Because you didn't notice a single thing. Hopefully.
It looks like it is working correctly.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, the code simplified a lot, I think.
Yeah.
I believe.
Card Y. Let's change that to wallet reveal.
Which is good.
Reveal.
But we got yes, we could also move the state stuff there. Okay, because the initial states is wallet. So I'm gonna do a mini sort of state machine thing here. Not really a state machine. Well, I mean everything's technically a state machine, but yeah. So scan state events. Return events for now. And then that doesn't matter. State wallet. Okay, and now we could add that logic here. Sorry if things are broken. Hold on. They shouldn't be anymore. Now that I'm working on are things broken?
It is working.
Oh, working. I thought it was like it is broken.
Well, maybe.
Okay, well, now Indiana Jones time. Wait, not yet. .idy and let's see, and this b.rdy. Okay, can I Indiana Jones this? We'll see. 3, 2, 1.
And it's broken.
Things break. Oh, scan is not defined. Ah, crap. Scan.
It's not working. It is not working.
Any luck on your end?
Nothing's happening. Nothing's there. What is the problem?
Cannot read property type of undefined. Hold on. Okay, sorry, things are broken. Of course.
Things are broken.
Are you just humming the Indiana Jones theme to everything?
Yes.
Okay, okay. You know, you do you.
Mm-hmm. I do me.
Okay. Right, let's see. Scan, turn, scan. Why doesn't that work? Okay. Date type. Oh, my bad.
What'd you do?
Everything's fine.
Is it?
No, not yet. Oh, wow. Hold on. Okay, everything's fine now. I think.
Whoa.
Did I break something?
I can't tell if it's just lagging really bad or if the values aren't actually updating.
I mean, the values are updating. I'm just doing a whole lot of console logging.
Oh, good gravy.
So I don't know if it's lag or, well, no, because it seems to be going back and forth between
two specific, negative.
Two values.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Just bear with me. Okay, should be good. I know I was doing wrong. There we go. Phew. Okay.
It still snaps whenever we click, but
yeah,
that's okay. Okay.
And I mean, we know why that's happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could,
fix it.
We could fix it. We could also ignore it. I mean, it's up to you what you want to do.
Oh, you got the click working? Well. Oh, sorry. No, I'm in the old one.
What did I do?
Let's see.
That's already why not to. Okay. Weird. Already why not to find? Oh. Okay. We're good. And I just knocked out a lot of props in our code. So, and I could probably knock out some more, but nah, it's no need really.
Do we still have our data panning happening at all?
Yeah.
Right.
I think I deleted that code, but
it looks like that's still happening under event subscribe, unless you've moved everything out of that. Let me see. Yeah.
Oh, I see you added the hand thing too.
Yeah. So that's all I was gonna update. Yeah. And data panning.
All right. Well, I mean, as far as the stopping point, I think we're pretty much there for what we want to do, unless we really want to tackle that gap problem, which, definitely gets a lot more complex. But for now,
yeah.
For now, we have a pretty cool effect going anyway.
Right. So. We might could do a simple follow-up.
Yeah, like eventually.
Episode. Yeah.
Or next episode.
Well, if we just solve it really quick with changing a few values and all that, we can do a Keyflect mini. But okay. But speaking of Keyflections, would you like to move into that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Now is the part of the show called Keyflections, which is a quick review of the techniques used to build this animation. If you have any questions of anything that we've done so far, or anything that's not clear, let us know. We'll be explaining as we go.
Yeah. And of course, if you've enjoyed watching us so far, you can also follow and subscribe here on Twitch or YouTube, or pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. Links are available below. Yeah, below.
All right, so yeah, let's go back to our original animation here. Apple Pay redesigned, Mikhail Sambora. We've got these nice interactions happening, and we built the main layout in this nice transition last time, just with a CSS and a simple state toggle. And so today we moved that into a little more dynamic territory, where now when you drag up and down, it switches between the states and reveals things as we go. So the HTML is pretty much exactly the same. The CSS regarding layout is pretty much the same. It's all basically happening down here towards the bottom, around line 150, where we're really making things happen.
I just did something that adds such a cool effect. Tried to over drag. I literally changed 2 characters or 4 characters. You see that?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, all I did was in the JavaScript, I clamped instead of from -1 to 1, from -1.5 to 1.5. And you get that effect for free.
That's nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So before we get into the CSS, let's explain a little bit about what's actually happening to get us the values we need.
Okay. So we're using this library called Hammer, and so what we do is we set up a new Hammer manager, which we called Happy, because Hammer app Y. Since I guess we're mainly dealing with the Y value.
Who knows?
I'm just trying to justify the Y there.
Yeah, sure.
And because Hammer needs this like extra tender love and care for Y direction panning for whatever reason, I think I explained it earlier, you need to set this over here. Clamp utility function, because we want to clamp the pan values so that the user can't go crazy and move it wherever they want. All right, and so we're using RxJS, and this is something that Shaw actually didn't see, so I'll explain it real quick, and it actually makes it a lot easier to explain. So basically anything that ends with a $sign, and that's just convention, is an observable stream of values. And so, for example, these pans can be an observable stream of whenever the user pans. And so you could see that from what Shaw added at the top left. You see how when you pan, all of those values change as you're panning. So consider that an array of values, but of course it's an array of values over time. That's what that pan is. The height I made really simple. It's just RxJS of the LApp offset height, so that's just an observable of 1 value. Now the reason I did this was because we could easily change that to height equals like RxJS.from event, and then something like window resize, and then we pipe that to map E, and then we get the LApp. Actually, I think that might work. LApp.offset height. Do you see anything glaringly wrong there?
Not yet.
Like, all right, so on window resize.
Oh yeah, it's broken now, but yeah.
Oh, that's because I'm redeclaring it. But look at this, Indiana Jones. I could switch out the height observable, and I think it's still gonna work. Oh, because I need to get that from events. So from events, okay, now try it.
Nothing.
No, nothing. What am I doing? All right, so RxJS from events, and so we're mapping to the LApp offset height from events, window resize. Is it window resize or?
Yeah, for just the general resize event.
Right, okay, let's see, with latest from height. All right, so let's add one, actually, yeah, but how we can figure that out later. Basically, what you could do is you could have this be an observable stream of more than one value based on the window resize events. And the benefit of that, which we'll talk about in a different episode, I'm sure, but the benefit of that is you don't have to keep querying for the window or for the app height value just because you don't know when it's going to change. And RxJS makes all of those you don't know parts very explicit because honestly, you're a developer, you do know that like the only time that the app height can change is when I literally change the window height and I resize the window, and so we could listen to those values. Okay, so we're combining our pans and heights, and so we're using with latest from, so we get the pans and we get the latest heights, and so basically we get a pair of pans and heights. And so we could map those to the pan type, which is pan up, pan down, pan start, pan end, and we clamp the what we call the RDY or relative delta Y values. And so we're just like doing that based on the heights. Now our scan function here is sort of what we had before, but like at the bottom here, but we're making it more functional. And the way we're doing that is instead of actually setting anything, we're just informing our code that we'll handle at the bottom. We're telling it like, hey, when we scan or when we pan all the way up and we're already in the wallet state, then go to the card state. If you go the other way from the card and you pan down, then you're in the wallet state. Otherwise, just combine the current state and the events value. And so we're going to get an object that looks like state wallet, like RDY 0, and type whatever. Right now it's undefined. 1?
Yeah, 1 should be the
okay
value.
Yeah.
And Lacoste asked, so which is the value that determines the state of the animation? So RDY is determining the position of everything, and then this state property is actually what's going to set the data state and
right.
those
toggles.
It's
a combination. Yeah, like Shaw said, it's a combination of the current states and the events, or like how much you panned. And so that's exactly what state machines are. You determine the next state based on what the current state is and what just happened. And then you get the next state, which is right over there.
What is the ACC?
Oh, that stands for accumulator. So that's just the full state. So if you used Redux or whatever you use in Vue, UX, right? That's just the states. That's a current state. So I guess I should have put current state just to make it more understandable. Current state. Okay, that makes more sense. Typically, when you write a reducer, they type it as ACC for accumulator, but I've always found that to be a very foreign term. That confuses me every single time. So we'll make it current state just for ease of understanding. And then, yeah, in our subscribe, that's where we do all of the imperatives, mutative stuff. That's where we're actually doing the side effects, which is like setting property, doing the debug part at the top left, which, yeah, it's still there. So yeah, so Shaw, I want to talk about how we're actually throwing these over to CSS land?
Yes. So let me do a little bit of cleanup really quick, just to make things even simpler. Because we don't need height anymore. Got that. Got that. Okay. Oh. Alright. Do we need to set the state up here? Yeah, because just in case it ends at pan end, or changes at pan end. That should be good. Okay. All right. So in our subscribe, we have this RDY value that's being set on the app container that is going in as a CSS variable. And even without any of that, we could just use our RDY variable that just toggles between the states smoothly like this around line 179. We've got -1 for the card end state and a +1 for the wallet end state. So even without the RxJS and all that, updating it so that it's a smooth transition, that can still work with some basic JavaScript or some simpler JavaScript. But when we are updating that value on the fly, it's going from -1.5 to 1.5, and then when we let go, that value is set to null, so it will transition back into these final values for the specific state. So let's go a little bit into how those movements are happening. So for instance, on UI card, we have the transform being set here. This is all just to make the cards stack a little bit more. There are many ways we could have gone about that, but that's the way we've set it up. Our transform here, we have translate y with calc, and then we're doing a 12 rem time plus 12 rem times the RDY variable. So that'll go from 24 rem when it's at the wallet state all the way to 0 rem when it's at the card state. So that's basically just moving it when it's in the wallet state down and keeping it at the same position when the card state is active. And our 3D rotation comes in with rotate X. We've got -40 degrees plus -40 degrees times the card reveal variable. So what I did is I tried to make things a little clearer with the variables. That name may not be super clear, but it's basically just the RDY value clamped to a -1 to 0 range, so that when we're going into the card state, rotate X should be 0. So we want -40 degrees to be nullified. So that's happening with that card reveal state. Actually, let me see if we can simplify this.
Lots of math.
Good gravy. Yeah. See, that makes it much easier. So that's why I named those variables what I named those variables. So if we want it at -40 degrees for the wallet state, I've got it var times var wallet reveal, so that it spreads out at that state. And then the translate Z is just to help give them a little bit of additional depth and the stacking. And then we have all these other elements that are also moving along with that RDY change, and the opacity is actually happening in a very similar way. So for instance, UI expenses and UI bottom, that's these areas here. Opacity is being set by calc 1 plus card reveal. Let's see if that, nope, that's the opposite of what we need. So we're basically making it opacity 0 when wallet is revealed, and then opacity 1 when card is revealed. There could probably be some cleanup happening there, but this is all built on the fly. So the transform is also happening at the same time, using that similar kind of idea. So when when the wallet state is active, we want it to be 20 viewport height out, and when card state is active, we want it to be at 0. So that's what that 20 viewport height times wallet reveal is for. Then the table rows down here, the TRs, they're moving in much the same way. We've just got a calc 100% times wallet reveal, same as right here, with some additional CSS variable fun to give them a little bit of a stagger effect. If you notice, as we're dragging, they kind of move out at a little bit different of a rate. If I take out the var total there, you can see that effect at much higher rate, but we're going for subtlety here. And I was messing around with some other CSS variables to just make things a little bit more self-explanatory, but you know, running out of time here. Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, right on.
And then one final little thing, the data set panning attribute, we really don't have any other use for right now other than transitioning from a grab to grabbing cursor, if you can see that. Just a subtle little change.
I just noticed that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of different techniques kind of happening here that are hopefully a little more understandable. There's you know, there's a lot of ways that you could be populating this, you know, RDY CSS variable. And you know, the range of values that you use for the RDY, it could be just a 0 to 1, and that would be perfectly fine. Or in this case, you know, we've just got -1 to 1 to kind of toggle us between two states.
Yeah.
Anything else that we need to cover, or any questions anyone has before we wrap up here?
I think we covered a lot. Hello, Daniel.
Yes. And again, this is part 2 of a series. So go back and watch part 1 if you're just now joining us, or if you stumbled across this one first. There's definitely a lot of setup that happened in that first episode, where we were just doing the basic layout and kind of covering these 3D transforms and all of those basic things.
Yeah.
This episode is definitely focused on the movement interaction.
In part 3, we implemented in Swift. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that.
No. Okay. Cool. Well, I think we can wrap it there for tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me get my old script pulled up. Go. You've been watching Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to see more from David and I, there are many ways you can support us. You can subscribe and participate in the live streams here on Twitch at twitch.tv/keyframers. You can like and subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/keyframers. That's where we'll have the video of this episode, and all of our other episodes are up there. You can also tweet at us and spread the word at twitter.com/keyframers, and you can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers to support us on an ongoing basis.
And we accept submissions for future episodes, so tweet at Keyframers with the animations you'd like to see. Someone did present a challenge to us on Patreon, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, you could also present questions or challenges that we'll try to answer on the air. Yeah.
That's right. And be sure to share this video and demo across your social platforms. Help help us get the word out a little bit and show.
Yeah, put it on MySpace, put it on Foursquare, you know.
Exactly. Check in at the live streams every week.
Yep.
Well,
we should have that.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.